Welcome to the 91st episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
So somewhat paranormal.
My name is Jason Knight, host of the show, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host and producer extraordinaire, Mr. Oscar Spector.
Hey guys, what's up? It feels like I haven't left it off from last time.
Maybe you didn't.
Maybe I did not. That candle looks like the same one from last time.
It is. This is part 2 to the Amityville Horror story. Listeners, make sure and listen to episode 90 to get caught up. Before we get into the show, Oscar, anything new?
I just took a piss upstairs. You like that one?
It's so fun. It's 4:42 in the morning right now. It was like 4:39 when we stopped the last show.
That's very specific.
Yes.
We should not make the audience think that we did this in a row. We waited 2 weeks. And then
2 weeks, baby?
We came back, met up again.
The work we put into this.
The work. Right.
Speaking of work,
Yeah.
last episode 90, the first Amityville horror podcast.
One of the easiest researches you've ever done, right?
Hardest research.
Oh,
I've
that's
ever
not
done.
why you... Oh, man, I had that wrong.
There was a lot of shit to sift through.
It's been 2 weeks. I forgot you said hardest. I thought you said easiest.
One thing I did say in the previous episode was, the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is hiring for research assistants. Got a few emails back. I would like to, and I thank you guys. You know who you are. I would like to interview a couple more. Looking for 2. It'll be a paid thing.
Yeah, but like in Monopoly money, but like the old style. So you can actually use that fake Monopoly money to buy real money.
Yes.
That's what he means.
Yes.
And maybe some Bitcoin.
You gotta be okay with deadlines. You gotta enjoy the topics we discuss on this show. Enjoy reading, researching, watching movies and documentaries about topics we talk about. But in order to help me keep this show moving and keeping our loyal listeners entertained, I need some help. It's getting really difficult to do this every week and a half.
Yeah.
So just want to talk to a couple more people, and then we'll roll.
Yeah, we'll spin out of control.
Spin out of control. That's what we do.
Did it snow here yet by that time that we were here last?
Man, I don't remember.
I'm just trying to show the audience how seamless our editing is.
Yes. I don't remember if it snowed or not.
Well, we shall see. It looks like
I was drunk all week.
I believe
remember.
that.
It's a blur.
Actually.
It's a blur.
I think you already ate all the cherries I got
The
you last time.
maraschino cherries that I thought you were going to kill me with.
Well, oh yeah, because I remember that. Like, what? I wasn't going to stab you with them. It's crazy talk.
No, but we're here back talking about the Amityville. Going to wrap this topic up. Got some good stuff in line for tonight. First, let's run down the contact information, Twitter and Instagram. Get a hold of us at Chicago Ghosts. Call or text anytime, Chicago area code 872-529-0767. That's Chicago area code 872-529-0767. Send us a text, leave us a message. We'll read and play them on the show. It's great to hear yourselves broadcast across the world, so go ahead and do that. Find us on Facebook, at Chicago Ghost Podcast on Facebook. If you leave us a review, drop us some messages, we'll read those on the show as well. If you love what we do and you want us to do more, maybe send us on another podcast trip. Help me bring on these research assistants. Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We have a great YouTube channel. Over 100 and something items are up there on YouTube. Check us out there. Supernatural Occurrence Studies on YouTube. And while you're there, make sure and subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified every time we upload new content.
Mm-hmm.
Contact us at chicagoghostpodcast.com. I know I hate saying that, so it sounds weird.
You could say reach us at.
Reach us at contact at Chicago. I like that. chicagoghostpodcast.com. especially if you're interested in the research.
Reach us,
assistant
find
positions.
us, you can say a lot of things.
Email us at contact.
Or email, that's more direct.
Podcast.com.
People respond to direct. I mean, just saying, there are many options, Jay. You are the journalist here.
I know. It's always so late when we do these episodes, and I forget sometimes.
Man, it's so early for me.
I have a short in my synapses in my brain.
Oh.
The synapi.
Synapi, nice. Call back.
Yes.
What was the other word we tried to pluralize?
On the last show?
Yeah. What was the word? Remember? Oh, man. It's going to drive me nuts.
Was it in the outtakes?
No, maybe.
I don't remember.
We did talk about it, though. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Fuck, it's gone.
Go back and listen to episode 90.
Yeah, I also don't know how much of the outtakes I'm leaving in still.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Okay.
We should make outtakes for this one.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
I just want to get to the juice, man.
Oh, I know.
I want to get to the
I actually have an opening question before
sweet center of the story.
Before you even open it, I kind of have a big question for you.
The creamy, juicy center of this story.
Wow.
Yeah. Slightly salty.
But, okay.
Somewhat clear.
That's what she said.
Anyway, I think I caught all the contact info.
You caught it like, yeah, okay, I got nothing. Okay, yeah, I think you got it too. You got the phone number, you got the Twitter, you got the Fotch book.
Fotch the Kotz book, yes. I got YouTube.
Yeah, I think
phone number, email, website, chicagoghostpodcast.com.
Is that www?
That is tripdubs.
Tripdubs. Oh my God, don't ever say that again.
chicagoghostpodcast.com.
Okay, good. HTTP : / Yeah.
:8080. Anyway, so I think it's the shortest intro we've ever done, Oscar.
We could talk about Game of Thrones if you want.
Oh, don't get me started.
No, I'm just saying, if you don't want to keep it that short, although it would be nice to give it short every once in a while, because we do have complaints of that.
We have had complaints.
So we could give this one to them. We could give this one, we could throw them a bone.
Well, dude, I'll tell you, that third episode of Game of Thrones, oh my God. That's all I could say. Oh my God.
That should be horrible.
How does that come through on the, oh my God.
I mean, it sounds pretty good. It sounds like you could do a commercial jingle with that voice.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it, shall we?
Unplug my
Let's please some of the haters with a short intro.
Short intro. Commercial break.
Short intro starting now.
Today's episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is brought to you by Grasshopper.com. Sound more professional and stay connected with Grasshopper.com. Grasshopper.com, the virtual phone system designed for entrepreneurs. Grasshopper works just like a traditional phone system, but requires absolutely no hardware to purchase or software to install. It's all managed conveniently online or by your phone. Callers can reach you wherever you are, at home, on your cell, or in the office. Get a toll-free number, multiple extensions, custom call forwarding, send and receive text messages, and more. Listeners of the show save $50 on your order when you visit www.trygrasshopper.com/ghost. That's trygrasshopper.com/ghost. Plans start at only $12 a month and come with a whopping 30-day money-back guarantee. Remember, that's trygrasshopper.com/ghost. Get connected now. Welcome back to the show, listeners. Please check out our sponsor and help us support this little passion project of ours.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, The lights are turned down low. The ceremonial candle is lit. And the drinks are flowing. Let's get on with this show.
Part two.
What?
Part 2, the endgame version.
Yes, part 2. So in part 1 of Amityville, episode 90, we really kind of recapped. We talked about the history of Amityville, the history of the house, home ownership, who's had it and when, and what happened with those homeowners. And we really focused on the DeFeo murders, the 1974 DeFeo murders. And where we left off, we were talking about possible other people's involvements in the DeFeo murders. And we're not going to talk about that here. Just go back, listeners, and listen to episode 90. And that's kind of where we left off. Some really good conversation in that episode.
I do have a kind of a question that was kind of a kind of like not a thesis statement necessarily, but like a tonal precursor for yourself, and see, like maybe like a something to think about. If you were to make if you were given in charge and let's say infinite money and budget to make the next big version of Amityville of Amityville, let's say it has to do with the Lutz. Let's just say, without spoiling anything, not too much, I guess. Would your version lean into the supernatural, or would it lean into something more realistic?
I would try to make it as fact-based as possible. As fact-based as possible.
Okay.
Laying out everything from the debunking of a lot of the Indian, Native American theories about the property, because we did that too in episode 90.
So it won't be following
I'd start there.
Would it be following like a POV of your choice, you think, or is it going to be more third person, like?
Probably third person.
Right. Seems like
documentary style.
Yeah, I see your point there.
And from there, I would probably roll into the house's history, the fact that these people who live there, besides Butch DeFeo and the Lutzes, none of them over the house's 95-year history spoke anything about paranormal activity in the house.
Yeah.
I would lead into the DeFeo murders. I would cover all the angles of the DeFeo murders, which we talked about, a lot of them in episode 90. Get into the mafia connection, because I think there really is something possibly there.
Yeah.
And lead into the Lutzes, where we're going to start this episode. And really look at all angles. Remember, I said in episode 90, we got to try to separate fact, fiction, and motive when talking about the Amityville Horror case. So I would try to do an unbiased look at George and Kathy Lutz, a character we're going to hear in this episode named William Weber, someone we talked about briefly in episode 90, being Butch's lawyer when Butch went to trial for the murders. Get that into the Lutz story, because it's a big thing with this William Weber character.
Yeah.
And how the Lutz story fell out. So that's kind of, I think, how I would want to approach a movie or documentary about it, is just try to look as unbiased at everything in the case. It might be a 5-hour-long movie, but that's how I would do it.
I mean, not necessarily.
Because there's so much here to then just...
if I was your producer on this, I can already see edits. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're putting down.
Yeah.
That's good.
What would you do?
You know what? I might... I'm having a bit of deja vu, by the way.
Oh, really?
Of this very conversation. Like the whole thing.
Yeah, and just a few seconds ago, did you hear bottles?
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah. That's why I looked over there.
Bottles clinking.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. I certainly did not set anything up when I went up there.
Well, that's another thing. In episode 90, listeners, I covered 2 pretty harrowing stories that happened to me here at my home recently. And right now we're sitting in my basement. It's very early in the morning, and
I'm getting deja vu.
No one's up.
It's very strange.
We just heard bottles clinking around upstairs.
Although in the deja vu, we didn't stop to talk about the bottles.
That's fucking weird.
So yeah, and I mentioned, and last time I went up there and I was here, I particularly took notice of your house very still silence. Which is...
Would you say sound suppressing?
Don't fucking do that.
Throwback to episode 90.
How dare you?
Telling you listeners, you got to listen to episode 90 before you listen to this one.
I wasn't going there, but now that's all I think about. Thank you.
God.
Thank you
So
for that.
creepy.
Anyway, I don't know, but I guess I would say that if I would love to make a fictionalized horror movie version, where I would very specifically have an equal footing of both, like a means of an opportunity, like kind of what I was talking about with specifically DeFeo. But as we hear details of the Lutzes, I think it'll help me reinforce this idea of both human motive, element, criminal, taking advantage of demonic possession and a demonic entity or energy, not even demonic, it doesn't have to be from demons, but like something evil, a presence and energy is taking advantage of human motive and criminal element.
Nice.
Like the idea of one dirty hand washing the other dirty hand.
I would totally watch that movie.
You know, I would love to see like so like it would be fact based as much as possible, but see how both players, ethereal and realistic, play with each other to accomplish this horrible goal.
Wow,
that'd be cool. So I kind of want to make it's a victorious movie where the goal is because we know the legend and it happened. So like it's like evil will win at the end of the movie, but that's the whole point, and that the winner is always going to be evil because that's its main player.
I would eat so much fucking popcorn watching that movie.
That's how I would do it.
And listeners know how I love my movie popcorn.
Yes.
I would eat tubs watching
Did I put that in there? I did, right?
You did.
I guess I did.
Yeah.
So that's how I would make the movie.
I love it.
Right? Cool. Thank you.
Let's see what happens.
Let's do.
So, where we left off, Butch DeFeo was in jail. Murders happened in 1974. We're going to pick up 13 months later.
That's very short. In
December 1975, when George and Kathy Lutz purchased the DeFeo home for just $80,000, a vastly reduced price because of the murders. And they, George and Kathy's 3 children from a previous marriage, Daniel, Christopher, and Melissa, who they called Missy, moved in. And just as a side note, a lot of people don't realize this, the children's last name was originally Quarantino before George Lutz adopted them, making them Lutzes. So a lot of people don't realize that. Don't even realize that they were children from another marriage, matter of fact. So anyway.
Big job, though, being a stepfather to 3 children right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So this new home, this was the Lutz's new beginning. And it was to be their forever home. And they decided to keep the house's moniker, given by Ronald DeFeo Sr., High Hopes. Unfortunately, hope wasn't what the family found at 112 Ocean Avenue. Instead, they found horror beyond words. All told, the Lutzes lasted only 28 days in their new home before fleeing into the night, leaving all of their belongings behind and never to return. As one reporter put it, after the Lutzes fled 112 Ocean Avenue, the house looked like a family just went off to work and school for the day. Clothes still in the closets, food still in the fridge, everything in the home intact, just waiting for the family to return from their normal day. Now, during those harrowing 28 days that the Lutzes spent at 112 Ocean Avenue, tons of over-the-top, downright terrifying paranormal activity was what chased the Lutzes from their dream home. Some examples of what the Lutzes claimed happened in their house. George Lutz said he woke up at 3:15 every morning, which is around the time the DeFeo murders happened.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time...
Witching hour, too, by the way.
What's that?
Witching hour, too.
Witching hour,
yes.
That's right.
Let's never forget.
We didn't mention that in the last episode. You're right. 3 o'clock, witching hour. 3 o'clock a.m. Now, when George would be woken at 3:15 in the morning, most of the time he would wake up to the eerie sounds of an invisible orchestra warming up, kind of making these distorted orchestral sounds.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
Or he would wake up and be pinned down to his bed by some unseen force. Maybe the force that pinned down the DeFeo families as Butch was marching room to room executing them. Or more dramatic still, George Lutz would wake to see his wife Kathy levitating off their bed. Matter of fact, not only did George witness his wife levitating, he also claims to have witnessed his sons Mark and John levitating off the beds as well. The Lutzes claimed that green slime oozed out of walls and door keyholes. Strange, rotting, and human excrement smells appeared out of nowhere and kind of roamed throughout the large home. A 200-pound front door, wooden door, was mysteriously ripped off its hinges and thrown into the yard. There were roaming cold spots throughout the house. A demon-like pig creature, which the Lutz's daughter Missy named Jody, with glowing red eyes, was repeatedly seen outside the home and peering into windows, even into windows on the second and third floor. And just as a side note, I brought back the pig toy I found.
Yep, Daddy confiscated the toy for himself.
The toy is now mine.
Yeah.
I mentioned in episode 90 that when I was coming downstairs to set up for the podcast, laying right next to the podcast table was this toy that I don't remember ever seeing in my house of a silver pig with glowing reddish pink eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really creepy and fitting for the topic. So Jody, the demon pig creature that the daughter saw staring into the windows. Obscene amounts of flies, according to the Lutzes, gathered in a certain room, and I believe it was the room that Dawn DeFeo was found murdered in.
Who slept there, do you know?
For the Lutzes?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody.
No, because they had 2 children, right? And the DeFeos had like 5, so...
Right, the Lutzes had 3.
Yeah, 3.
And I don't think anyone slept in that room.
Gotcha, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. So these flies would gather in a certain amount of the room, what I think was Dawn's room, no matter what temperature it was outside. The flies would be killed only to reappear again in the same room just hours later. And of course, conveniently, one of the names for Satan is Beelzebub, the Lord of Flies.
Yeah.
Very convenient for this story. Objects throughout the house moved on their own. A crucifix that hung on the wall in the home would turn upside down, signifying the demonic. Knives would be thrown in the kitchen, and a heavy lion statue given to the Lutzes as a gift would move from room to room all on its own, and was even said to have bitten George Lutz.
The statue
Crazy, I know.
had bitten the father, right?
Yes,
the stepfather.
Yes, and that's a part you could see that happen in the original movie.
Have you seen a picture of the real one? How it looked or no?
The real statue?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
How big is it?
I don't know the measurements.
Which is up to your waist? Oh, not that big at all.
Not
like a
even
small
that big.
statue.
Not even that big.
Something you put on a table.
It was. I think it was made out of stone, so it was heavier. So it was more of a floor piece, something you might put in front of a fireplace, something like that.
Okay.
And this thing would move around the house.
That's crazy.
And supposedly, as the story goes,
bit.
George was bit by this thing, and he had these 2 teeth marks. Like
I guess he didn't
marks.
watch Lion King that year
right.
when it came out.
Yeah, Simba.
Yeah.
When they moved into the house, because of the murders that happened there, Kathy Lutz had the house blessed by their priest, Father Ralph Pecoraro. While blessing the bedroom where the DeFeo brothers were murdered, which the Lutzes were at the time using as a sewing room, Father Pecoraro said it was unnaturally cold in the room. And when he started sprinkling holy water, that's when a deep voice commanded him to get out. And then unseen hands slapped him. The father claims that after he left the house, he became very ill, and his hands developed terrible blisters. And just like in the original movie, whenever Father tried to call Kathy to warn her, the phone would connect, but the connection was always staticky, and he could never call and talk to Kathy, actually talk to her, to warn her. Now, there's video of Pecoraro telling his story on a television show called In Search Of, and I'll leave a link to the interview in the show notes.
And he corroborates this. I mean, to him, he says all this.
He does. However,
yeah.
In the television show, the father's face is blacked out. You cannot see his face, which leads Amityville non-believers to say that could be anybody. That couldn't. Maybe that's not the father. Maybe it's just an actor. But there is video from a real TV show claiming that this is the father who blessed the house. And
Is that the only source of the father speaking out about it or writing about it or anything?
Yeah, from what I could tell.
Okay.
From what I could tell. And later I'll talk about the church's reply to this.
Yeah, no, I just
because
want to say
they vehemently deny it ever happened.
No, I just want to say real quick that doesn't necessarily mean just because there's one televised source where he blacks himself out means that it has to be fake or she should have tried newspapers or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems like the guy wanted his privacy respected, and he did his best to just tell people. And obviously, a lot of people don't want to be on camera. So many people, whistleblowers, then you have to have a good excuse.
Yeah.
They don't do it. Okay?
Well, especially
there are porn actors who never see your face. You see the dick, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many reasons.
Yeah, and especially once you hear all of the controversy that ultimately surrounds the Lutzes,
yeah,
it's perfectly logical that the priest just didn't want to be associated with it.
For sure.
He's a fucking priest, right?
Yeah.
But I'll leave a link, listeners, see what you think. But he does, in this video, corroborate the story. I'll also leave a link to a rare Good Morning America interview with George and Kathy Lutz and James Brolin, the actor who played George Lutz in the original movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to hear some of the original story coming from the players' mouths.
Definitely.
So I'll leave that in the show notes, too.
Any relation to Josh Brolin?
Yeah. It's his father.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's Thanos' father.
Yeah, right.
Now, after publicity started mounting surrounding the supposed hauntings taking place in the DeFeo murder house, and after the Lutzes fled the home, New York news station Channel 5 decided to launch their own investigation of the Lutzes' claim in March 1976. The news station called in famous demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, the couple played or portrayed by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in the wildly popular Conjuring movies, to conduct an investigation at the house.
Definitely, yeah.
And, just a side note, I have to mention it here. Lorraine Warren, she just passed away on April 18th, 2019. She was 92 years old, so rest in peace.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Now, according to the Warrens, who arranged a seance in the house's energetic vibrations were insane, just off the charts. Lorraine Warren said that whatever was in the home was terribly evil. At one point during the investigation, the seance moved up to the room where the brothers John and Mark DeFeo were murdered. Once set up in the brothers' room, Lorraine Warren was asked what it felt like to be in there. And she cryptically replied, quote, "I hope this is as close to hell I ever get. It's like evil personified." End quote. So we have famed demonologist Lorraine Warren saying that the house is the equivalent to hell. But reporter Marvin Scott, who was sent by Channel 5 to document the investigation and who was there the entire time, didn't see or experience a single thing. But supposedly, late into the night, while the investigation was still underway, a professional cameraman who was involved in this, named Gene Campbell, captured a strange photo on infrared film. A photo that shows what looks like a young boy with short, brownish hair, wearing a flannel patterned shirt with glowing white eyes. And it's peeking around a bedroom door on the house's second-floor landing. It's as clear as day and spooky as hell. Now I'll leave a link to this photo in the show notes. According to George Lutz, this now famous photograph was discovered 3 years after the seance and investigation at 112 Ocean Avenue. Lutz says that while he was working on a book about the case, about his story, his secretary at the time, who was about 8 months pregnant, was pouring through photographs to include in the book. And there were tons of photographs from the night of the investigation. Lutz claims that suddenly his secretary came running into his office, saying she found a photo to use. It was the photo of the ghost boy. And the secretary said that every time she touched the photo, her unborn baby kicked her. Freaky, man. Now,
3 years after.
3 years after, yes.
That's
According to
interesting.
George Lutz. This was found 3 years later.
That's interesting.
So, it's got to be asked, is the ghost boy one of the murdered DeFeo brothers, Mark or John?
Is the brown hair key?
What? Say it again.
Did the brown hair? Did the boys have brown hair?
They did. Yeah.
They did. Okay.
Was this ghost boy really Jody the demon pig taking on an innocent form? No one knows. What is known is that there were no children present during the investigation. Now I'll leave a link to this creepy photo in the show notes, like I said. Now if you follow the link and you look at the photo, there's a picture of John DeFeo next to the ghost boy, and the resemblance is almost dead on. No pun intended. Or some believe the ghost boy is not John DeFeo, but instead one of the Warrens' investigators, a man named Paul Bartz, who was present that night and who was wearing a similar flannel shirt. I put a picture of Paul Bartz next to the ghost boy too. Check out the photo and see what you guys think and let us know.
Yeah.
Contact at chicagoghostpodcast.com. It's creepy, dude. It's really creepy, especially when you look at the picture of the DeFeo boy next to this thing. It's almost spot on. It's really creepy. So, after the seance with Ed and Lorraine Warren was broadcast, the media storm surrounding the Lutzes kicked into high gear. And in May 1976, the Lutzes moved to San Diego, California to start a new life and duck out of the media storm. Now, in California, they hooked up with Hollywood author Jay Anson. Anson convinced the Lutzes... So, of course, Anson's the one who wrote the first Amityville Horror book, right? The one that people take as canon. Anson convinced the Lutzes to let him buy the rights to their story, and he made them a really good financial offer to do so, a 50-50 split on any royalties generated. Ultimately, a company was formed called the Lutz-Anson Group to handle affairs with the book. However, prior to striking a deal with Anson, the Lutzes were already in a book deal to write about their experiences along with Butch DeFeo's defense attorney, William Weber, kind of a collaborative thing.
Got it.
You see, in March 1976, William Weber sent a contract to the Lutzes proposing a company be created to handle a book deal based on the Lutzes' experience. A company called the Hoffman, Weber, Burton, and Mars Corporation. William Weber, DeFeo's attorney, would act as the brainchild of the story, basically creating the Amityville story based on his intimate knowledge of the DeFeo case and his talks with the Lutzes. Paul Hoffman would be the book writer, the actual book writer, and from what I could tell, Burton, another lawyer, and Frederick Myers were kind of like research assistants. Now, according to the contract, Weber, Mars, Burton, and George and Kathy Lutz would all receive 12% of book royalties, while Hoffman, who would be the actual book writer, would take 40%. Now, obviously, the deal was way better with Jay Anson, that 50-50 split, so George and Kathy backed out on the deal with Weber. Of course, Weber didn't like this one bit.
Right.
And Weber was fully aware of the literary and film value the DeFeo case held, as well as the value of the Lutzes story. So, because the Lutzes made a deal with Jay Anson, Weber's cash cow flew the coop. To save his book deal, Weber launched his own investigation of the Amityville house, and he brought in the big guns, a man by the name of Hans Holzer, a lifelong respected parapsychologist and author of, in total, 120 books dedicated to the paranormal, including a number of books about the Amityville case.
Damn.
For Weber's investigation, Hans Holzer sought the assistance of a deep trance medium named Ethel Johnson Meyers. Now, once inside the Amityville house, instead of finding a demonic presence like Lorraine Warren did, Myers claimed she contacted the spirit of a Native American, a Shinnecock Indian chief named Rolling Thunder, who said that he was buried under 112 Ocean Avenue. That's who she picked up on. And Rolling Thunder was mad because the house was built on sacred ground. Myers said Rolling Thunder causes living people to commit violence, and that the chief said he'd get any male in the house, in other words, in the sacred place, to do anything he wanted them to do, even kill. Myers said that while in her deep trance communicating with Rolling Thunder, she could feel her skull crack and her neck stretch, almost like Rolling Thunder was flexing his muscles and showing her what he could do. This harkens back to Ron DeFeo, harkens back to some of the Indian paranormal legends that circulate through Amityville area about pissed off Indians possessing people to get them to do things. Mm-hmm. It all kind of ties in here.
This was how long after the Lutzes left?
This can't be a year.
Right,
Not even.
Yeah.
Not even. So now we have one expert, Lorraine Warren, saying that whatever is in the Amityville house is demonic, never of the living, and that the house is hell-like. And you have another expert, this deep trans medium named Ethel Johnson Meyers, claiming that the angry spirit of a Shinnecock Indian chief is haunting the place and could manipulate males to do his violent bidding. So who do we believe? Well, if William Weber has a say-so, believe no one. As time went on and the dust settled, William Weber went on record saying that he himself invented many of Lutz's stories, including the walls dripping slime and Jody the pig demon. For the walls oozing slime, as the story goes, one day Ronald DeFeo Sr. slapped his wife, Louise, while she was carrying a plate of pasta. Louise fell down the basement stairs with the plate of pasta, and sauce splashed all over the walls. This story was told to Weber by Butch DeFeo, so he could only take Butch's word for it. Now, in Weber's retelling of the story, it wasn't sauce on the walls, but oozing slime. Weber himself also said that when the Lutzes moved into 112 Ocean Avenue, forensic dust was still all over the place, including on the walls. But in Weber's retelling, it wasn't forensic dust, but oozing slime. Weber also claims to have invented the story of Jody the pig demon peering into windows. Sort of. Now keep in mind, the pig demon scenes in the original movie and in Jay Anson's book are famous, grippingly terrifying scenes. But according to Weber, again told to him by Butch DeFeo, a neighbor's cat would constantly visit the DeFeo's house, and it would sit on windowsills, eerily peering into their home like cats do. Creepy-ass cats. So when plotting with the Lutzes, Weber changed it from a cat to a demon pig. Remember, all this was done to hype the story, to sell books. And Weber says that the Lutzes were full in with his idea to embellish everything. Weber said the resulting story would be like The Godfather and The Exorcist rolled into one. According to Weber, the entire Amityville Horror story was conceived between himself and George and Kathy over 4 bottles of wine. And apparently the entire conversation was recorded. Now, of course, the tape recording has never been made public, and today no one knows where that tape is. Go figure, right? But an investigative reporter named Laura DiDio, who was the first to interview the Lutzes about their claims, said she did hear the recording, and you could hear William Weber and George and Kathleen Lutz talk about how a fantastic story, kind of like The Exorcist, could be created around the DeFeo murders. Remember, fact, fiction, motive.
And when was this, this reporter heard this? Like, when was this? A year later? Less than that?
I didn't get a date on when she actually heard the tape.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that when were the Lutzes first telling people, either authorities or neighbors or anything like that can be, traced in some way about the horrors of the house?
When the Lutzes fled, they contacted a news station.
A news station?
Yeah. And it started spiraling from there.
And did they say when they were contacted a news station and whatever other interviews they may have given or whatever?
And they did. They gave a couple interviews.
And in the days after leaving,
yes.
Right? Did they say the same details they've been saying that's in the book?
A lot of it, yeah.
And what I'm trying to say is that how far into, like, did Weber know them before they bought the house?
There's no indication that says Weber knew the Lutzes prior to buying the home, but I think while they were in the home, Weber was whispering in their ear, and definitely after they fled. Weber's like, let's do this.
So you think Weber? So in those 28 days, you think they were already like right away planning? Can anyone corroborate their?
I kind of do.
When can the relationship be seen? When can the relationship be considered started at? Like when? During the when they lived in the house, before, after?
I don't know.
Slightly after,
I'm not really
a year
sure.
later. I mean,
It all their collusion
Yeah.
came to light during court cases, which we're going to get into.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the public knew that there was a connection here between DeFeo's lawyer and the Lutzes.
Okay.
That's when it really became public. But I think he was talking to them prior to that.
Okay.
After all this, all the research, I think a lot of the story was fed to them.
Yeah.
And they all saw an opportunity to capitalize off of the DeFeo murders.
Yeah.
In this Godfather exorcist product.
Well, I mean, I guess they succeeded. That's what I was going to say is that, I mean, they bought the house cheap, right? So it's not like they necessarily lost money on that.
Well, that's another theory we'll get into a little bit later.
I'm just
that's
trying to think
a
because
popular theory.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, can you? I mean, it seems like if you want to take it a step further, meaning me, take this a step further. This line of questioning about Weber and the Lutzes. I mean, as soon as this murder happened, the house was going to go up for sale, and the DeFeo kid is already sentenced or whatever. Weber was choosing a couple to bring in there. Finding people who would start a story like this?
I don't think it was that.
Okay, so he took advantage of whatever person moved in there.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way.
And they went along with it? Okay, so it's a gamble. It's fine. It can work.
This is an
opportunity.
High-profile lawyer telling them, hey, guys, I worked on this case, and I think if we said a couple of these things and embellished this over here and that over there, we could all make a shit ton of money.
So he goes in there like, hi, welcome to how is your home, your welcome home basket or whatever.
Yeah.
And
here's a golden egg.
Yes.
Just play along.
And I had this idea. Okay. And then at this time, run away, call this new station. We'll start it. And
it's so possible. It's so possible.
And then the Lutzes, ideally, not even a year in, they get this better, amazing deal to make the book with this other guy who's willing to give out more in royalties.
Yeah, the 50 split.
And that's where they split from Weber.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get into here now with that split.
I'm just trying to see this through the criminal viewpoint, and it seems to track so far.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
It's sad, but it does.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't even think it's sad. I mean,
no, I'm saying sad because I love this stuff, and
yes,
I loved the Amityville Horror story my whole life.
I like supernatural stuff too, and I definitely wish it was true, though I don't wish it was a demon or a bad thing. Right. So.
Well, I'm going to backtrack here a little bit.
Okay.
When William Weber's contract with the Lutz, wow, damn gravity. When William Weber's contract with the Lutzes went south, Weber's partner, Paul Hoffman, went on to sell 2 articles based on the Lutzes' story without the Lutzes' permission. One article, called Life in a Haunted House, he sold to the New York Sunday News and was published in July 1976. And the other article, very similar to the first article, was sold to a 1977 edition of Good Housekeeping called Our Dream House Was Haunted. Now, after the articles were published, the Lutzes sued Weber, Hoffman, Mars, Burton, Good Housekeeping, New York Sunday News, and the Hearst Corporation for $4.5 million, claiming invasion of privacy, misappropriation of name for trade purposes, and negligent infliction of mental distress. God, what a mouthful. Of course, in turn, Weber, Hoffman, and Burton each filed $2 million counterclaims against the Lutzes on the grounds that George and Kathy perpetrated fraud for making up their entire story and for breach of contract. Now,
you mean the book deal, right?
Yes. Now, I'm not going to get into the gritty details of the court case, but just realize that because of the lawsuits, the Amityville Horror story was now in the courts where rationality rules. Ultimately, the case against New York Sunday News, Good Housekeeping, and the Hearst Corporation were dropped. But the cases between Weber, Burton, Hoffman, Mars, and the Lutzes were kept on and were passed to multiple judges, with one judge, Judge Jack B. Weinstein, stating, quote, "Based on what I've heard, it appears to me that to a large extent the books, the one Weber wanted to publish, is a work of fiction, relying in large part upon the suggestions of Mr. Weber," end quote. And because Weber and Burton were lawyers, Judge Weinstein also raised serious ethical concerns regarding their conduct, namely the problem with lawyers becoming literary agents, and for feeding the Lutzes information and twisting facts to make them sensational and sellable. So the cases were passed to the New York State Bar Association because of the questions raised with how they were lawyering. But conveniently, the cases were settled out of court before the New York State Bar could get involved. I think I read something like $2,500 passed hands. Something just ridiculously low. Flash forward to 2001, when details of the Lutz vs. Weber case were unsealed by a DeFeo family member. Testimony was found in that file from the Catholic priest, Father Ralph Pecoraro, who was called Father Mancuso in Jay Anson's book, the one supposedly involved in the Amityville house exorcism, the one that heard "get out" and was slapped, which detailed his testimony under oath that the events described in Anson's book never happened.
You mean the description that he supposedly said to that news? That
the link I left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they found unsealed testimony from him saying that what Anson described in the book never happened.
Even though he supposedly said it at that news thing. Right.
Okay. But, now here's the big but. I'm going to read a quote from the Rockville Center, which is the archdiocese responsible for Amityville, and their response to Father Pecораro's involvement in the Amityville case. And you decide what it means. So, there's all a quote. Quote, "At the time in question, Father Ralph Pecoraro worked at the Tribunal of the Diocese of Rockville Center. Father Pecoraro was involved as a counselor of the Lutzes during, as you call it, the Amityville Horror story/hoax. Because of his concern over the publicity attached to the story, he petitioned and was granted a leave of absence for personal reasons on May 1st, 1978. At that time, he no longer worked for the diocese. He went to the Diocese of Oakland and worked there. However, he eventually left there and dropped out of sight. He surfaced on occasion, but made no attempt to return and serve within his diocese, even though we encouraged him to do so. Eventually, his whereabouts became unknown to us until hearing of his death in 1987. The diocese maintains that the story was a false report. In November of and this is all still a quote, in November of 1977, diocesan attorneys prepared a substantial list to be submitted to the publisher, referring to Jay Anson in his book, of numerous inaccuracies, factually incorrect references, and untrue statements regarding events, persons, and occurrences that never happened, end quote. The letter is signed Reverend Robert O. Morrissey, JCD, Assistant to the Vicar General, where JCD means Doctor of Canon Law, and Assistant to Vicar General means Reverend Morrissey was an assistant to the bishop's assistant. To me, I think the biggest question here in this letter is why did Pecoraro leave his post after counseling the Lutzes? Why the Disappearance Act? And why did he never return to his post even though he was strongly urged to do so? Well, if you believe the book and the original movie and his own statements in the video link I'm leaving in the show notes, it's because Father Pecoraro was tormented by whatever was in the Lutz's house. But who knows? Now, I know I could see on your face. You got something to say. I just wanted to get through that letter.
That's so needlessly confusing. Okay, so I don't really have anything on the priest per se, except that so his bosses, meaning the church, was trying to tell him to come back,
Yeah, in the letter, we strongly urged him to come back to his diocese.
It seems like you think that's a case of trying to save face with that,
Who was trying to save face?
Like the church was trying to save face on how it looked because it looks like their priest ran away?
I guess I didn't think of it that way. Maybe.
Because if that's the case, I can see why maybe, what's his priest's name? Pecoraro?
Father Pecoraro. Okay. Or in the book, it was Father Mancuso.
Okay, I'm going to say Mancuso. The father then, because I could see it like a guy like him, like if he was lying from the get-go about the what he felt, the slap in the face and everything, get out of here. If he lied about that, somehow was convinced to do so, probably money, and then he regretted it, and then he felt shame and ran away, and the church tried to save face, even though they caught him in a lie because of his statement to the courts.
Yeah.
I can see that in them trying to save face to bring him back. That makes sense, and he ran away regretful. I can kind of see that. It seems like a little bit of a stretch. But if not, then it's more confusing.
It really is.
It's more confusing because if he wasn't lying, I mean, I can see him running away out of fear. Limelight's not going to make it any better.
Now, fear of publicity or fear that he's being attacked by something demonic?
But both. I was going to say both.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Especially, I mean, the easy one is the limelight, of course. Fear of that. I don't want that either, even if I'm whatever. But, yeah, fear of that town and everything that could mean from that place. Maybe, when you think of what that other, not the Warren girl, the other woman, how she said about manipulation of males to do whatever they want.
Oh, Ethel Meyer, the deep trans medium.
If you want to talk about a possible, I don't know, manipulation of greed through the George Lutz and Weber, it could be the agents of the spirit or something, and Father saw that it was manipulated as well. It could be something like that.
Maybe.
If you want to go that far, it seems that's the most far-fetched. But I'm saying these are all
this
males.
This is a far-fetched story.
Right.
But these are all, right, they're all males.
They're all
except
males.
For Kathy. But.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, but 3 against 1, I guess, in that case. And, I don't know. I mean, it does seem, though, and we haven't gotten to it yet. I know you mentioned in the last show that you knew someone who met George Lutz.
Right. Well, yeah, we didn't get into it in this episode because I covered it in the last episode, but since you mentioned it, yes.
And his interpretation or his impression of the man was not good.
No. So I had the opportunity to know a famous Chicago ghost hunter who's now deceased, rest in peace, Richard Crowe. Mm-hmm. And Richard Crowe told me personally, when I asked him about his thoughts on the Amityville case, he told me personally that back in the 80s he did a talk show with George Lutz. And his impression of George Lutz, first time meeting him, was that the guy was a snake. He was someone that couldn't be trusted. His exact quote to me was something like, George Lutz was a man you did not want to turn your back on. And take that for however you will, interpret it how you will. In other words, he can't be trusted. So that just plays into
the greed of it, right? The lying of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's one hook, and we're getting really close to the end here.
And so far it seems pretty greedy. Yeah.
Right. So that's the story of what happened in the home to the Lutzes.
Mm-hmm. How long was their escrow?
How long? What?
Well, was the escrow?
I have no idea.
It'd be funny if it was 29 days.
Oh man. That's the story of the Lutzes. That's what they experienced.
Yeah.
We got this player Weber and his cronies trying to press a book deal with the film. He knew how valuable the film could be, how valuable the book could be, his intimate knowledge of the DeFeo murders. And I really think he wanted to spin a story and make money. And
this comes all out on the heels of a lot of these serial killers we've been talking about in the 70s. And the pop culture iconness of humanity taking advantage of these stories like this.
Right.
Yeah, it's so easy to fabricate it and take advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more so probably back then. Now it's harder to prove things, right? We have more science. But still,
harder to fabricate things.
harder to fabricate, I guess.
Right.
Well, I mean, if anything, it's even harder to show proof because people don't believe it anyway.
Well, right.
Maybe the opposite. It's too far on the opposite, right?
Yeah.
But either way, it's much harder now, is my point. I'd have to be there and see it myself.
Right.
Even then, I'll be looking for, I don't know, digital something.
Wires and shit.
Right, yeah, I imagine. Anyway, you were going to say. I just want to say that.
No, I was just going to say, at the end of the day, out of all this, George Lutz claimed he only made $300,000 on the entire Amityville Horror story, which are pennies considering what the franchise has raked in over the years.
And the book? 10 million copies sold.
Yeah, 10 million copies sold, exactly.
So I guess the court thing did not go in his favor?
No. Remember, settled out of court, and I think...
Oh, yeah, you mentioned
I
that.
think he made $2,500 or something like
Right.
that.
So you're saying that the rest...
They did not want to go in front of... At least Weber did not want to go in front of the New York State Bar and have his ethics brought into question.
But wasn't it him against the Lutzes, right?
Yes.
So if
I'm sorry, Lutz is sued first.
Right.
Because the articles that were published by Hoffman, and then and the Lutzes named everybody and their mother in the lawsuit, including Good Housekeeping, the newspaper,
right.
Hearst,
right.
And then in retaliation, Weber and his guys launched lawsuits against the Lutzes.
But you're saying that the person that was fearing it to go to court...
To go to the New York State Bar.
New York State Bar. Well, I guess fearing further litigation, I guess, is Weber. It just seems interesting to see that the Lutzes would give up because of the potential payday.
Or potentially what Weber would release.
The recording.
Everything.
I mean, yeah.
Which he ultimately did years later, but
which is
I think they wanted to avoid all that.
So you're saying that the recording was given to the...
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was ever played in court.
Okay, gotcha. No,
I don't know.
Yeah, but you think that some sort of courthouse has it? Something like that? Like sealed or something?
It could be. Who knows? Or Weber or one of his guys could have it. Hell, it could be locked up in the Lutz's estate somewhere. Because as you see here, the Lutzes did ultimately have two more children, two girls, before they died. But maybe they have it. Maybe one of the sons has it, one of the Lutz sons. Who knows? But supposedly it's out there, and this DeFeo, the reporter for that Channel 5 news station that actually did the first investigation with the Warrens, she was involved with that news station, and she was the one that was the first to interview the Lutzes. Supposedly she heard it, but I have zero proof. So,
all right, and
that's the story.
So all the money that the Lutzes got from this whole ordeal was from going on shows and news stuff.
Talk shows, definitely. And I'm assuming from royalties from Anson's book. I don't know about the movie, but definitely from the book, that 50-50 split. Somehow they got... George says at the end of the day, $300K. And who knows if that's true.
Seems like that would be low considering how big the book was.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Exactly.
Did he get like a lower rate? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he hiding money? Who knows?
It's weird. What a weird lie.
Yeah, $300K because he's all like, I didn't make. Because here, let me bring this. So at the where did I leave off? At the end of the day, George Lutz claimed he only made $300K. Right, pennies considering what the franchise brought in over the years. From San Diego, where they moved after they fled the Amityville houses, the Lutzes relocated to Phoenix, Arizona, and in Phoenix, George and Kathy ran a direct marketing business. And they had two more daughters, as I mentioned, Gabrielle and Noelle. And I just said, so you know, I can't find anything at all about the daughters. And ultimately, in the late 80s, George and Kathy divorced.
Okay.
Now, Kathy Lutz died on August 17th, 2004 of emphysema. And George Lutz died of cardiovascular disease on May 8th, 2006. Just 4 years shy of the Amityville Horror story rights becoming his. Up until the day they died, George and Kathy Lutz claimed that their story and experiences were not a hoax. They were real. And to further their claim that the events they experienced in the Amityville house were real, the Lutzes took a polygraph test. A former CIA official named Chris Gugas oversaw the Lutzes polygraph test. At one time, Gugas was considered one of the best lie detector analysts in the world. And believe it or not, after all this, everything we've talked about in these 2 episodes, George and Kathy, they passed their test with flying colors. So to the Lutzes, what they claimed happened in the Amityville house, was real. Now, people say George and Kathy made up the story for fame and fortune, having found the perfect storm, the DeFeo murders, to capitalize on.
Yeah.
Others say that George got in way over his head with the mortgage of the Amityville house. He was in too much debt. That's why he made it up.
28 days in.
28 days in, he realized, oh, shit. That's a really popular theory. Still, other claim George himself was involved in the occult, and whatever was in the Amityville home was drawn out by that. And as I mentioned at the top of probably episode 90, I think, we'll never know what really happened there. And I keep going back to Richard Crowe's words, that George was a snake, couldn't be trusted, and was someone you didn't want to turn your back on. Then there's William Weber's own words, that he and Lutz made up the whole thing. Or are those just the words of a man screwed out of his cash cow? Bitter, sour grapes.
How much did Webb make? Probably not much either, right?
I don't know.
Probably less if you didn't do TV stuff.
Yeah. So I guess I'll end the episode with a quote from famed parapsychologist and author Hans Holzer, the man involved in Weber's investigation of the Amityville house. Holzer said, quote, "The Amityville story is the perfect story, if you could tell it right," end quote. So even Holzer himself, very coy, because he was asked straight out, is it real? And that was his quote. It's the perfect story if you could tell it right.
Well, yeah, that's how it works.
So I know you've asked, a few times throughout these episodes on the Amityville case what I think, and I think after doing all this research and sifting through all the bullshit, I think it was made up. I think it was all made up for money.
The entire thing.
The entire thing.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay. I could sell that.
Now, if you ask me as the host of a paranormal-themed podcast, I would say that there likely could have been, and probably was, something strange afoot in the Amityville house, considering that 6 people were brutally murdered there. Right? Mm-hmm. Some imprint was left that the Lutzes picked up on. That could have happened. But these little things that they might have picked up on, just like those little bottles we heard clanking
or
here.
The lights you saw, maybe, or Mr. Lincoln.
Mr. Lincoln, right. These little things, with Weber's help, were just magnified times 100 in efforts to make money.
I mean, that's one thing that we are,
and that's unfortunate,
legit missing from the world of the supernatural and paranormal is like excessive proof of something. We never have that.
Of course. 100%.
We never get that.
100%.
Even if you consider like a streak, like a whole like river full of victims or something, let's say with the missing 411, where there are countless of missing people. That seems like all the evidence, right? All these victims and corpses and strange, but they're not. They're not. There's no smoking gun on any of this ever.
Just Butch DeFeo's.
Well, that's not a smoking gun.
And the smoking rifle.
I meant like smoking gun as in like
the definitive proof.
Proof, right?
Irrefutable proof.
It'll never look more than an orb. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, a dust particle.
Right. So, I just want to say that. But So, what do you think of the 2 paranormal people that came to investigate, Warren and the other one?
Oh, that is a whole podcast. And listeners, we will cover the Warrens in a podcast episode.
Probably correlating to some movie release. I'm kidding. There's a new Annabelle movie coming out.
New Annabelle movie. I saw that. People love and hate them. Yeah.
Well, what do you think of them personally, without spoiling too much on any future show?
Well, no. I don't know enough to pass judgment right now. I'd have to do my research. I know who they are. I know what they did. I know they own the Paranormal Museum, and that's where the real Annabelle doll is held. The Raggedy Ann doll, by the way, not a demon-looking doll. But
Oh yeah,
I just
movies are
don't
fake,
know-
guys.
Yes, I just don't know enough about them to say whether they're real or not. I don't. So that's where
And
I'll-
that's
where
holding
I'll
you
leave
back
that.
from giving any potential thing where about this particular Amityville thing.
Yes.
What about the other
all we have is what she said, her interviews, her newspaper articles, the stories of their experience at Amityville. But then on the other hand, we have the deep trans medium who had a completely different experience and encountered a completely different entity of the Shinnecock chief. So who do you believe?
No. I honestly, I think I could easily believe one or both of them, and I definitely lean more to the one that met the chief. I guess a little more, mainly because of your history, the background you gave on the place itself. I can see that. Maybe not the specifics on that. Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying the guy was possessing things. I'm just saying I can see her talking or seeing the energy or feeling the energy of Native American chief or something like that. I can see something like that. But the other thing is that a violent murder happened there that could have nothing to do with this chief. The land, I could commit murder right here. 100 years from now, someone else for a different reason could commit murder on the same spot.
Yeah.
There's two conflicting energies there. Why can't Warren feel the energy of this murder of these two boys, because she was in that room, of those two boys there, feel the energy from that, and this other woman feeling a different energy that happened at a different time?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I feel pretty confident, I think, the way I laid out the Indian theory, the Native American theory in episode 90, that there's no Indian connection there.
No, I know, with the
book
miles
says.
apart things, right?
Yeah, and
Doesn't
the
mean that
fact
no one
that
could die, though.
none of those Shinnecock stories could be validated over the years, and
Of course
people
not.
have tried.
At best, they have oral.
They can't.
histories.
There's no historian that ever,
Nope.
supposedly told George about these stories and things.
Yeah, of course.
Cannot be found. To me, that's just that just screams bullshit. But you're right. Who knows? It's a good thought.
Point is that they could both those things could be read, and if they're real, and they both could still be different. That's what I'm trying to say. And then secondly is that as far as anything relating to the movies or the books or anything with the Lutz to say, I'm with you on that. I don't think it's any of it's real.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we come to a decision on that at least.
Yeah, it does seem, it really feels bullshitty.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll catch shit by the Amityville believers on this covering of the story, but it's our opinions.
Yeah. It's is this? I guess this would be a hoax, right? It would be,
Just a hoax, the Amityville hoax.
Oh.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, no, it's insane, but you gotta treat it like any other sensational fiction,
Yeah.
The Shining ain't real, but the hotel's there.
Hotel's
Doesn't mean
there.
it was real.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What's our runtime on this one?
It's definitely less than the other one.
Yeah.
With a 7 to 8 minute intro, and we're at 58:51 right now.
Under an hour. Wow.
No, I mean 58:51 on this.
Oh, plus the intro.
So plus the intro
Not
would be
too bad.
just over an hour.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
There's other things we could have talked about. Daniel Lutz
Yeah, I was gonna ask you something actually. How would you cast in a movie
for
Lutz?
George.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Let's see who. What about a non-comedic Seth Rogen?
Really? You think you could play Snaky like that?
He's just kind of big. The hair.
I've never seen a picture of Lutz.
He's got weird eyes.
I'd be making it up anyway.
Seth Rogen. He could be a little.
I can see
looking,
Paul Giamatti being the sleazy lawyer.
Paul
Robert.
Giamatti's the lawyer. Yeah.
Robert, because he plays a lot. He can play that sleazy, greedy type Paul Giamatti, but he also can play like the really nice.
Anna Kendrick could be Kathy Lutz.
I swear to God.
Listen to outtakes of episode 90. No, but what I was going to say is Daniel Lutz now, all grown up, he came out with a documentary called My Amityville Horror.
Okay.
Where he basically corroborates all the stories that this is fucking real.
In a documentary,
And
so it's like Talking Heads. Have you seen it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I would highly recommend people check it out. Fans of the Amityville story. But I didn't include it because he's hungry. He's not doing well. There too, I kind of think that, like his dad, he's trying to capitalize on the story. He's living extremely meager.
Really? That bad, huh?
He doesn't seem to be all there mentally. He's dealt with drugs and alcohol heavily over the years, supposedly to cope with what he experienced at the Amityville house. It's a very interesting documentary.
Well, also,
it's
like,
another
how old
layer
was
to the
he?
story.
How old was he when they lived there?
Oh, I want to say maybe 12 or something like that. 11 maybe.
I mean, how much of that?
Like my age when I
Don't get
visited.
me wrong. We both believe in the show that children do see beyond.
Absolutely.
Right. But they can also be influenced, manipulated. They could think they saw something after years and years and years. Come on.
Yeah, it's not so much that for me. It's that I could totally see this guy. And I'm not trying to lambast him, but I could totally see him doing it for the money. And matter of fact, in the documentary, he brought up the occult connection with George Lutz in the home, his father in the home, his stepfather in the home.
Yeah.
Again, my Amityville Horror, I think you could rent it on VOD right now for like $5. I would definitely recommend fans of the story check it out. And, just use skepticism while you watch it. But it is interesting. It's very interesting.
Aliens must hate us so much if they're watching us just like contemplate, like, dude, clearly it didn't happen. Why are you all being stupid about it? Like, can you imagine? Like, can you stop being children?
There's another documentary filmmaker right now. Yeah. His last name is, I believe it's Ketzenbach.
Sure.
His whole angle, and this is out now. There's 3 parts to this. I can't remember. Like
sequels or like in a series?
It's a series of 3 documentaries. Okay. And he's saying that police divers or underwater recovery crew found a handgun in the water behind the Lutz's home.
In the water. Okay, yeah.
Remember, it's right on the
Took me a second to remember that.
Yeah. They found a handgun supposedly thrown in the water by Butch or one of Butch's accomplices, proving that there was more than one shooter in the home the night of the DeFeo murders. And a lot of people attacked the documentary. A lot of people attacked the documentarian as not doing research, thoroughly pushing an agenda, an angle, trying to be the new hotness when it comes to the Amityville story. So I didn't include that either. It didn't.
Well, the thing is that documentary is also it's been going through a high point in our society lately, but also a very delicate point because we are starting for me, for example, I've always known the biasness power of a documentary movie.
Yeah. Michael Moore, for example.
Michael Moore, perfect, right? So many of them. I've always known, but I'm a student of film, so I guess I should know. But there are many people, and they're waking up to this fact more and more as documentaries become more sensationalized.
Yeah.
Starting from, the train started with maybe the Jinx, right? All the way to Making a Murderer, Syed, whatever his name is, the HBO special.
Yeah, based off of the...
and then Neverland. So many.
What's the murderer, the Indian murdering kid?
Syed.
Yeah, Syed, Saving Syed or something. But it's based off of a podcast by
Serial. Yeah,
Serial. Thank you.
Yeah, I know the show podcast, but I don't remember the kid's name is escaping me right now. I saw 2 episodes, but I got kind of bored, so I kind of stopped watching. And not that it's bad. I just I'm just so fed up. So anyway, point is that. A lot of people are understanding how a documentary could be biased. It could take fact, maybe this bullet casing was at the scene, and they could take that and spin whatever they want out of it. And it could be true because they're basing it on something that was really there, but doesn't mean that it's there. I mean, anyone could drop that gun in there. Right. You don't know.
Right. Oh, yeah, over the years, it's Long Island, for Christ's sake.
Long Island.
I mean, come on.
They drop guns every day.
Someone could have easily thrown. And again, that's why I didn't really include it in this.
No, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. It's, even with these documentaries, watch out with what it is because you have to see what the movie is trying to guide you. Because a documentary movie has a narrative too. Sure. It doesn't make sense, but it does.
Sure, I agree.
And as a matter of fact, if you want to consider a true documentary movie, wouldn't have a narrative. It would just show random, chronologically ordered things.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't look appealing either. So they have to cut it and edit
Spruce
it this
up,
way.
yeah.
Yeah, they have to. They have to.
Makes sense.
They have to. Just to even give out the information you want, even if it's true, you have to do something like that.
Yeah.
So everything has a narrative. Just be careful with biasness. I do not believe this thing was true. But it'd be funny, though, is if... because I do want to hold it to, let's just say the far left version of this would be that the power of the evil in this house made these people so greedy that no one would believe them. You know, accentualize their inner core, whatever that we talked about earlier. And if I know it was true, or at least a lot of it was true, a lot of the horrors maybe were true, and, you know, the house just took its influence from these victims, right? That could
be an interesting angle, yeah.
You know, or you could take it in so many little ways where, like, it could be true, but they also want to take advantage of the money. We said that about DeFeo. Like, you know, his is still a strange case.
Yes.
His is way more stranger than Lutz. I think Lutz can be more explained easier because it's all hearsay, right?
Yeah.
But DeFeo was there. He shot them. The way it happened, the headboard, all that fact, right? Fact stuff. And you think of, like, what I said on that last show, episode 90, I said that what if he was possessed and then he woke up and then his first instinct was, I mean, kind of shadily, to protect himself, create an alibi, get out of it alive.
Makes sense.
You know, because no one will believe him. What if these guys saw all this shit and they came out of it like, let's try to make money off this. I saw all this crazy shit. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to try to make a book deal out of it. It could be the same way, too. It could be. Not saying it is.
No, I get it.
Just covering all bases on that.
Or what if the house has the ability to bring out the extreme characteristics of the homeowners, right? So in Butch DeFeo's case, it was a deep-rooted hate of his family, right? Or his parents, at least. With George Lutz, it was greed. William Weber, probably in contact with the house at some point, greed.
Yeah.
But then you have the opposite side where it's the Cromarties or the O'Reillys or the H family I mentioned. I didn't want to say their last name. The newest family, who the guy saved an infant's life on a New York train, and there's a news story, you know, to back that up. What if the house has the ability to bring out the best and the strongest characteristics in someone's body, you know, someone's being?
So you're saying that the two extremely famous things about the house, the two families that were impacted the most, are just famous because they were completely negative.
Yeah.
Their strongest characteristic were negative things.
Right.
So every other person's strongest characteristic wasn't negative.
Yeah, it was something positive.
That's a good one, too. I really like that one.
It's an enigma, man. I still love the story. It's sad that I now, after all this, think it's fake. But there's a lot of what-ifs here. A lot of interesting what-ifs.
Yeah, and I like to cover the bases, like I said. These are possibilities.
Definitely.
They seem more far-fetched, but also grounded in a way, because I can see that strongest characteristic. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. You like?
I do, yeah. I never knew that's much about the Talisman. I kind of... The Talisman. Fuck.
Talisman. Stephen King?
I don't know why I said that.
That was weird.
About the Amityville, but I do want to rewatch the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to.
And check out some of the documentaries, too. You know, and if you can, the My Amityville Horror was a good one. So and our Jody the Pig mascot for these 2 episodes. I could put this thing to bed now.
Why a pig?
I have no idea.
You ever researched that? Like, what is the pig? Was that the year of the pig for the Chinese New Year? Like, what was that year? Like, I don't. Or what was the pig about?
I don't know, but now I hate this toy. But that's going to disappear.
Yeah, now you have to put on your briefcase every day. Every time you go to work, you have to.
What am I, Don Draper with a briefcase? I have a satchel.
You have a satchel?
A leather satchel.
What's wrong with being Don Draper? He drinks old Manhattan Old Fashions, by the way.
He is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we're rambling.
So now you got to put that in your satchel. All right, we're going to call it, I guess.
Oscar, you're going to take us home?
I'll take myself home.
Oh, fair enough.
Cool.
I like the coconut.
There's these was it Jewel or CVS? No, it was CVS, I think. They used to carry well, maybe they still do, but not the ones by my house anymore. They used to carry these cashews. I love cashews. Cashews with coconut, like coconut clusters, like all over it. Oh my god, it was so delicious.
Oh,
and the last couple of times I've been there, they didn't have it. I'm like, oh, they
bitches.
They had all these other ones. I'm like, I don't want these. I want the coconut one.
This is not what I signed up for.
Right. Because I take them to the movies, and I just gnaw on them, man.
Are you a food sneaker inner?
Dude,
to the movie? Yeah,
I rarely buy anything.
We do it too.
What the fuck? They're so expensive.
When we go to the movies, it's like, okay, bring your slippers, bring a blanket, bring food, and when we get there, we lay out like we're at home, man.
No, I don't. I mean, do I bring my iced coffee? Sometimes there's chai in it.
Plug in my Keurig.
Wow. That's bad. Yeah, I'm vaping in there and stuff. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, if it's a packed house, I try not to. Yeah. But if Lexi's with me, she don't give a fuck. She'll vape everything.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that takes balls. I've never done it.
No one's ever told her anything.
Really?
I mean, it's fine.
Well,
I mean, you can. It's just that I guess no one's complaining about it.
Lexi would just stand up and say, "What? I've been in prison, bitch."
That skinny ass bitch does not.
She don't come around no more. She don't like us no more?
No, man. She's just like very comfortable, like staying home.
Okay.
You know, it's yeah. I guess, or maybe her mom is bugging her less, so she's okay with it. You know.
Oh,
I don't know. It could be a lot of things, I guess. And ever since she's got that PS4, any excuse to stay home is going to be fine with her. Trust me.
Did you get that for her, or did she get it?
No, she got it for herself.
I see.
What the fuck? I'd rather give myself another PS4. That's why I get creative with the gifts. I don't have to get that. What the fuck?
Look it up right now.
Yeah.
So you actually got a subscription?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And they're pretty worth it. They're not that expensive. I mean, for one pair of underwear, for sure, that's expensive. But like, they're really good. So
I got it. Okay, I'm gonna look into it and see if they'll sponsor us.
Look it up. You and Katie will love that shit. It's super soft.
But I don't wear underwear, so. But
No,
maybe,
they have
maybe
boxer.
Katie.
They have boxers.
No, I don't.
You're commando all the time.
Always.
No wonder I'm slightly attracted to you.
Always. Like right now?
Right
there's
now.
nothing but just sweatpants material. So
Oh, wow.
I'm separating me and you. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been doing that for years. But for Katie, and maybe for a sponsorship for the show.
Yeah.
So thank you for the suggestion.
That would be cool.
I'm really weird, man. I don't change my razors. I've been using the same razor for at least 3 years. Same razor, same head.
I can feel it when it changes.
Can you? I don't at all.
Wow.
I don't at all.
I guess we have more sensitive skin than yours?
I don't know.
Oh, you have less coarser hair than we do.
Maybe I'm just a
Bit of both?
thick-skinned fuck.
Maybe you
and
are.
it doesn't bother me. But yeah, never change my razors, ever.
Allow me to say an Italian joke. Do you coat yourself with olive oil?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. I don't wear underwear, and I never switch my...
And you wear shorts in winter.
I wear shorts in winter, and I never switch my razors. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why we're friends, probably.
Cool. I'll take it. What are you drinking there, Oscar?
Well, I don't know what you put in here.
That is
Byron
a
and Sprite.
cherry UV and Sprite, and it smelled delicious.
You did not taste it?
I didn't taste it.
Oh, you want to taste
but
it?
I'll maybe after these two, maybe I'll have that.
Oh, yeah, you have two drinks.
Yes.
That's right. What are you drinking? Manhattan?
I am drinking a Manhattan Old Fashioned and a Lakefront Brewery IPA. I can't remember the name of it. I forgot the name of it.
I also have a chai here, by the way. A nice chai.
I'm wondering if that cherry would have worked in chai. We said no originally, but now I'm thinking about it. I wonder if it would have worked.
Well, you're the bartender. I mean, way more than I ever have been. So, what do you think? It's milk based, so it's milk and chai.
Yeah,
A little bit of ice, and it has 1 pump vanilla. What do you think?
It might have worked. It might have worked. But if it didn't, we would have ruined your whole chai drink.
But it's not a big deal. I literally get it for free. So maybe we should try it.
It might work. It might work.
Okay.
Cherry works with a lot of stuff.
Maybe I'll drink this first, and after our break or however long this, and whatever it is, I'll put some in there.
Cool.
Yeah, why not? I'm doing a strawberry toast e-juice thing.
I am on coils that died 2 days ago, but I was on the road, so I couldn't really stop.
Wait, they died 2 days ago?
Oh, yeah.
So you're feeling the burnt the whole time?
It tastes like shit.
Yeah.
So when I have burnt out coils and I can't make it to the store, I don't put my good juice into my vape. I have bottles of shit juice for backup.
Oh, juice that you didn't like?
Juice that I don't really like.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't care if it tastes burnt, but I still get the nicotine hit. You know.
Do you want to taste mine?
No, I'm gonna go get coils tomorrow. So I got like.
You don't buy in advance?
I do, but I went through them all.
That's not buying in advance.
Then I went on the road.
You're describing the opposite.
I did. No, I had like 8 of them, 8 coils, but I burned through them.
So I have. This is how fucking pathological I may be, at least compared to you.
How many do you have?
I have fucking 3 packs of coils.
Oh wow!
First of all, and I'm gonna get a third one, but I have 2 tanks, 2 different tanks.
Yeah.
And I don't have another mod. I want to get a backup mod of the same because it's good. Because I dropped this like twice, and I'm afraid that if I drop it enough times, it will stop working.
Yeah.
And then I'll be fucked. So I want to get another one for sure. And I always get backups of everything I do almost. So I have extra. So I have another tank filled up right now,
Ready to go.
So if I want to have a different one, I just put that fucker in the.
That's smart.
And
I should do that.
Like when this one burns out, I'll switch the tanks, and I'll have time to actually clean this out properly and switch out the coils and everything.
Smart.
Because I have Q-tips in all the boxes that come with them.
Damn.
And I just clean them up.
You are prepared.
Yeah.
I was very unprepared this week.
And I'm here chastising you for it.
Now I'm suffering.
One time I was there, I forget what. I think it was a Polish friend's party or something. I don't remember anymore. And they had lined up shots for all of us, and it was like vodka straight, but there was vodka with like a cucumber in it.
Ooh, not good.
I don't know what it was. I think it was a cucumber. I think that's what they told me. It didn't super look like a cucumber because it looked like this not herb, but like this vegetable plopped thing in there, and it tasted awful. I couldn't. I almost threw it up.
Holy
I mean,
shit.
I spit it out, but I almost threw it up.
And the other Polish were just slamming it.
I think maybe everyone was drunker and didn't care, or I don't know what. It was awful. That was the awfulest thing in my mouth.
No shit.
And I've dated some dirty ass girls.
I've seen some shit, man.
I've seen some shit. Yeah, you remember? Oh wait, I should have talked about it.
Yeah.
Asilema was going to mention, but
Yes,
she was. Yeah, she was pretty ghetto. Yeah. So, man,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm that way with anything like cinnamony alcohol. Can't do
So
it.
no Fireball for you, huh?
Fireball one time made me throw up blood, like you in New Orleans
Why would you keep mentioning that?
when you threw up blood.
Yeah, remember that time? Yeah. Like, no, I was drunk as fuck. Nah, I think it still was pizza sauce. I don't think I threw up blood. I don't know about that.
Or the one time we were at a bar and you wound up in the garbage can puking, like weren't your legs like sticking up out of the garbage can?
I mean,
or something?
I just believe you on that one. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was in Oak Park.
I did a lot of blackout drunks back then. I remember I had a few stories. Like, James would tell me, like, you remember that time we were at I don't remember the name of the bar anymore. It was like a club/bar. It was like a Coyote Ugly style. All the girls would get on top of the thing, and they put, obviously cheap whiskey or cheap vodka all over everyone.
Okay.
As they were standing around gawking, and they had a chair.
It sounds horrible.
And girls would like dance all over you in the chair and pour like Jägermeister all over your dumbass.
And guys are like, "Oh, I love this."
And I was one of them. I was one of them. Point is, he would tell me stories about that place. I remember some of the details, like the chair and the stuff. I even remember like hitting on a few girls. I remember succeeding on a few girls, but I don't remember. There's a lot of gaps.
Oh man!
And he would tell me stories of shit that I did. And like, I don't remember that at all.
That's scary.
He could have told me like I killed someone. I would have believed you because I mean I didn't. But like, man, I don't remember any of that. We got kicked out of there a couple times.
Oh shit!
At some point we were banned for that year, and like I don't remember that at all.
Banned for a year?
That's what they said, or that's what someone told me.
That's
that he
a good
said.
night.
I guess so.
That is a good night.
Yeah. So I don't remember.
Do you remember the bachelor party for Lib?
Yes.
For William Wolfe?
I was not drunk enough to forget that one. I want to remember that one.
There was so much urine and pee and vomit.
I'm pretty sure urine is pee.
And just other random bodily fluids. It was such a horrible, horrible night.
I mean, you thought it was horrible?
He was wallowing in a woman's piss.
Yeah, but it wasn't you.
It was not me.
And I saw your dumbass face. You were enjoying it.
It was crazy.
You were enjoying it because it was crazy.
Because, like, usually when people get peed on, they pull out a tarp or saran wrap.
Oh, no, this girl was scuzzy.
And they put saran wrap over
Not
the
this
guy.
one. Not this one.
Not this girl.
No, not this girl. She was not that ready.
She just laid his
You
drunk ass.
looked at her tiny person like, where's the tarp?
Are we missing something?
Yeah, you saw the bouncer guy like, hey, do you have the tarp on you?
Come on, man, break out the tarp. She's getting close. She laid his drunk ass down. And
On the floor.
On the wooden...
And we were on the second floor, by the way.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure one of us announced the worry that it might drip through the floor.
Through the ceiling. Because there was a lot. There was a lot of pee this girl had.
She drank some water. She managed to get through her system pretty fast.
Yes.
She had a gift.
And she just straddled him and squatted right down, just like an animal.
Yep.
And just let it fly.
Yep.
And halfway through it, he woke up. He realized what was happening. So he started, like, trying to flip around like a fish.
Yeah.
And it was just making the pee spread worse. It was like pooling in his belly button.
This is super gross.
It was in his hair.
I might have to like put it like a disclaimer, like this is super gross. Just be warned.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've never seen something like that in my life.
Yeah, that was definitely a first for me.
That was great.
I definitely have heard of golden showers, never seen one before that. Not since either.
And not since, right.
Not since, right.
Every time I ask
that's
my
a one-time
wife,
offer.
Yeah, I always ask for, can I give you a golden shower? And she threatens me with divorce, so I don't know. So yeah, it was my last time too.
Yeah, your last time, as much as you tried.
Yes. And I was laying on the floor one time and at that party, and the girl was on top of me, and I'm like, I love you, man. I love you. I was so drunk.
And then the same night?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I was like telling her I love her.
I was definitely
I
focused.
definitely remember that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No,
it was stupid.
I mean, I remember I had a slip and slide from one of them. It was two of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Slip and slide from one of them. Big ass knockers. I don't know which one was that.
I really did.
Yeah, they were really huge.
Like, I remember them being hot, but other people told me they weren't at all.
I'm sure they weren't.
Yeah.
But all I remember was big ass tits, and I'm pretty sure that's what I should have remembered.
You're right. Yes.
You know?
That was a wild night.
Slip and slide is way different, guys, just so you know. No pee involved in that.
No pee.
No pee. It's like basically like a very fancy, lube-filled dry hump. Basically.
Yes.
Basically.
Your chest is naked, her chest is naked.
Right.
And I think whipped cream was in there, wasn't it? Or
not for me.
Was it oil or something?
It was an oil thing.
Oh, okay. See, that's a nice...
Like baby oil, maybe?
That's a fun time right there.
That was fun.
It's innocent, it's fun.
It's anything that you feel like, I wish I would have gone a little longer. That means it was a good time.
Yes.
Right.
I don't think Lib or Bill, as people know him, thought that I hope this goes on further.
Yes. Probably not. And that's why some people take him to another room, probably to fuck him throughout the night. A couple of people, yes.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Obviously, there's some money exchanging happening, and they were taking him to some other room, probably the bathroom of that second floor, because we had a party room.
Really?
Remember that? And I was like, what the fuck are they doing there? It was just until like a day later I realized, oh, they were fucking them. Or even a year later. I don't remember. Memory's weird that way.
See, I fucked up because as soon as I went up to that bar, as soon as we got there, I gave the bartender $30, and I said, remember me.
Oh.
So she would pour good drinks,
yes.
right? And I don't know, 4 drinks in, I was fucking gone. She was just pouring straight.
Oh, he remembered you.
She.
Sorry.
Pouring straight alcohol with a little bit of whatever I wanted else in there.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about good things with what Lexi's doing over there.
Yeah, we sprinkled in some good into this.
Talking about golden showers and beer bottles and fluids and wow.
Some of the most fucked up things I've seen about people or people's actions, I think you were in the room.
I don't know what that means, but...
Probably says that our relationship is making me less sophisticated.
I'm reverting back to Neanderthal when I hang out
I could have put any word, but I went with less sophisticated.
I'll drink to that.